Hey guys, TechAgent, we're back with more AKG videos. If you go 2 years ago, if you ask me, hey man, what do you think about AKGs? I'll probably tell you to scram it, I'll tell you to beat it. But nowadays, my opinion on AKGs has changed significantly, because as soon as I started getting correction curves for them, I started to realize the fidelity that you can extract from these headphones, from these electrodynamic headphones, especially the AKGs. Past 2000. That's the time where I think AKG made the best headphones out there. Today, we're going to talk about one of my favorite AKG headphones, if not my favorite AKG headphone of all time, apart from the K1000. That is the Akg K400. You might be wondering, hey man, you have a K501. Why do you like the K400 more? That's a good question. For a very long time, I thought the K501, the K400, the K501, the K401, and the K400 used the same drivers, because if here's the manual, as you can see, and if you go in the service manual, if you go down, you'll only see the capsule is K45. There's no difference in the exact serial number, part number. They're all the same. If you want to buy a replacement, for the drivers from AKG, now they are not available. But when they were, the only representation of these drivers was K45, and then you had a part number there, which was constant for all the models, which is completely nonsense, because the K401, the K501, the K400, the K500, they all used different drivers. They all had a different capsule, different diaphragm, different magnetic assemblies. They were completely different, even a different baffle plate in some headphones, but they were different drivers. But AKG, for some reason, calls them the same drivers. But that's the K400 right there. The reason I like the K400 so much, obviously the sound quality, which I think is one of the best in the bunch. It has one of the most musical, response of any headphone AKG makes in that range. I think a K501, is just not having this warmth the K400 has. But enough of that. Let's talk about the differences between the headphones. The K400 is the last breed of AKGs to come with a single layer diaphragm. If you go, post the K400, that then comes the K501, which had a single layer diaphragm, but it had some characteristics to the K601, which is a multi-layer diaphragm, a dual layer diaphragm, two-layer diaphragm, which AKG calls. That's the trademark term they use. But the K401 was the last breed, alongside the K500, to use a single layer diaphragm. The K501 versus the K401 is pretty, the difference is pretty significant. Here I've got some notes, because now I need notes nowadays. I cannot wing everything. But the K400, by the way, I'm paraphrasing this off a post on Head5 by MDR30, so all the credit goes to him. He's the guy responsible for all these information, because although these AKG vintage headphones are not that common, there is a good cult on Head5, where people really appreciate these headphones. There is enough information about these headphones on Head5, but not on video, so I'm gonna just paraphrase these words for you guys. So the K400 was the K500. The outer ridge surround, that is the surround, the main surround outside the dome, the K400 has 60 ridges with minor ridges in between, of total of 120. This is the K500, I'm sorry, not the K400. And the K400 has 70 ridges. Actually, I made a mistake. The K400 has 60 ridges with intermediate ridges in the between. That's 120 in total. And then the K500 has 70 and 140 again. So that is the difference in the ridges. That obviously contributes to the control of the diaphragm itself. Then the K501, which has a different thickness, has only 25 ridges, I think, 24 ridges, and they are a different shape as well. So there is a difference between the diaphragms of these headphones. So none of these headphones use the same capsule as, it's not constant among them. They're all completely different. There is also a significant difference between the K501 and the K400, and as well as the K500, and that is the magnetic assembly, the back part, the venting. The K500, I'll just put up a picture for you guys, but the K500 is completely blocked. There's no venting in between. whereas the K400 has partial venting inside. So those are the slight differences between the the drivers between these headphones. The K500 and the K400 also use the same baffle plate, so that's something to keep in mind. So there is similarities between these headphones, but at the same time they're not using the same diaphragm, the same membrane, the same magnet as well. So they are using completely different capsules, but AKG for some reasons just calls all of them DKK45 with the same part number if you want to order them online. So the K400, one more thing I wanted to point out about the K400 is that the K400 went through 2 revisions in the soldering part. So the the initial revisions had from the headband assembly they had a clip-on type connection, which was obviously not very secure. So AKG then in the second revision, when they heard complaints of people losing connection, they moved to a completely solid hardwired solder joint. So that's the difference between the solder connections between the K500 and the K400. As I said, the K400 and the K500 and the in the K501, they all use different drivers, but the K400 and the K500 were the last breed to come with a single layer diaphragm. As soon as we moved up to the K501 and the K601, which I'll show you guys in the next video, you moved into from a single layer diaphragm to a multi-layer diaphragm, and that multi-layer diaphragm has still stayed for all current modern AKG headphones. Even the K812 uses a multi-layer diaphragm. So this driver diaphragm technique has remained constant for the last 10-15 years now. So the difference between the K601 and the K701, K702 is the impedance. The K601 had the same impedance as the previous model as the K501, the K400, that is 120 ohms, as well as the Techniques EAHT7 that I showed you guys in a very I think like last year or something, which uses the AKG diaphragm as well as the AKG voice coil. So you have 120 ohm constant for K400, K500, K501, K401, K400, as well as the K601. But as soon as you come to the K702 to K701, you move from a 120 ohm driver to a 62 ohm driver. So there's a difference between the impedance of these headphones, but the diaphragm and the overall assembly remains the same with the K601 compared to a K701. But again, the difference between the K601 and the K500, K400, K501 is a multi-layer diaphragm versus the single layer diaphragm. So those are the differences between these AKG models. Now let's come to my K400 specifically. I bought these a couple of months ago now. They have been sitting on my headphone stand for a couple of days, so they have collected some dust. But apart from that, the condition is almost new old stock. If they came with the box and stuff, I can almost sell them as a new old stock headphone. That's how amazing the condition is. Headband is almost pristine. Ear pads are completely pristine. No scratches or kinks or anything like that. It's just a very good condition K400, which is very impressive, because you don't find these in that good condition nowadays. The pads are worn out, the headband is completely worn out. But since this is a vinyl headband compared to the genuine leather headband of the K501, it is more resistant to wear compared to the K501. This material is very similar to the one used in the K240. So it's a vinyl headband in the K400 because this is a budget model compared to the K501, but it is pretty nice. Build quality, this is an Austrian headphone. The K400 is made in Austria, so the differences between a Chinese AKG versus an Austrian AKG is not minuscule. It's a significant difference, and I'll be talking about this in detail when I do my K601 video. So the build quality of this headphone is absolutely fantastic. There's no complaints I have here. So really nice. Comfort, really amazing. It's very lightweight. It's significantly more lightweight than the K601 as well as the K501 because of the leather headband on the K501. It really adds the weight. It's a very thick headband. The vinyl headband is very slim and really doesn't add a lot of weight. I also put custom elastics. These are just rubber bands, so the elastic shape is in good condition again. I also put a YPS system, Yang-proof system. This is constant among all my vintage AKGs. I keep this system because it's I have a specific cable for this and I really like the system, so that's why I employ this. One more difference between the K400 and the K501. The K501 has a completely non-transparent mesh inside. What's the opposite word for non-transparent? I completely forgot. Opaque mesh inside. But the K501 has a transparent mesh, so you can see the driver inside, which is quite cool. I think I like the K501 earpad design more than the K401. The K501. Overall, the K500 is one of my favorite headphones of all time. I think in terms of how much I respect this headphone, The only other AKG that I respect more than the K400 is the K1000, and it's K1000. So the K400, if I'm, if I think it's that good, it really is something amazing. So I really like this headphone more than the K501, more than the K601 and stuff. It's an absolute gem, I think. And for the price these go for, nowadays online, it's a ridiculous bargain. You're getting amazing fidelity for the money you're paying, and it's just amazing. I highly respect the K400. It's the best headphone AKG I think has ever made, and I really like it. So that's the K400. I'll see you guys next time with the K601 and a K500, and then the K401 as well. So that's it. Take it easy, and like always, have a good one. All right.